Hello, guys, welcome to Coding for All. And thank you. First of all, I would like to thank all of you for showing such support and love as the channel is growing in a really fast pace. And I wasn't expecting such huge and such positive response from all of you. So, thanks for your love and support, and I would really appreciate all of you to keep showing your love and support by liking, sharing, and subscribing to the channel, and obviously taking part because only growing channel won't be enough. My target is to make you people learn a new skill. Believe me, this coding for all the content that we are trying to learn here, full stack web development, believe me, don't take this for granted. This is something that you can never learn so easily. I'm taking you step by step. These are little baby steps that I would encourage you to take along with me, because when we are done with the basic things in a good and collaborative manner, we can easily jump onto more complex tasks where we can really ace in the future. And this skill, full web stack web development, just go to the Google and try to research about it. This is one of the most highly paid skill, not only of 2020, 2020 or 21, 22, even in the future. Believe me. And getting such skill free of cost on the platform YouTube is really rare. And I would encourage you, because I've spent a lot of money over it, and I don't want others to spend huge amount of money. I want all of you to just learn free of cost at the cost of your time. You just need to spend time. The only cost involved is the time. And I believe that it is not such heavy cost that you can't pay. So just pay this cost time and you will see the earn from it, and you will see the response, the betterment that you will get from this, I believe, from this channel. So I encourage you, follow each and every video, all the tasks, all the challenges. If there is any suggestion from me, feel free to join any of our social media platform, either you can say Instagram or LinkedIn or Facebook, this YouTube, or directly just mail me right in the comment section. Come on any of the social media platform and tell me what is that I can do for you to make it even more easier, or make it more, you can say, collaborative. I want all of you to join these pages so that we don't have a traditional sort of lecture type video. I want us to become a community. I want us to become a part of a family so that we can learn and grow together. I believe that you understood my point. Now let's dive into the lecture. Enough of the talk. Let's try to learn and grow together. Thank you. So I hope that you did the challenge and you were successful too. Even if you weren't, there's nothing to worry about. Now we are going to work together over this task and challenge. So as it was said that width of 200 pixel, height of 200 pixel, we will have this thing constant. So why don't we do it like this? Copy paste. Again copy paste. So there is going to be border. So border style is going to be something solid. Why don't we copy paste this again? That shows that how lazy and how efficient we are. It will have border width of border width of 10 px but padding of 20 px. Control S. Border width of 20 px, and down here border width of 10 px. Let us observe now the changes. So yes, very nice. First step is done. The second is that what can we do here? So now we are going to have some mathematical applications here. For example, the width is 200, the border is 10. So 10 on each side means 220 width, then 20 padding means 20 each side, 40. So 200 plus 20, 220 plus 40, 260. So for this reason, you can say the 260 is almost the total width of the top container. In order to move this margin left, what if we do something like this? Excellent. The reason is that obviously this is going to cover it whole, and margin left as we only need to add buffer and space from this side. Similar we are going to follow here. So what is going 200 width, 20 on each side, 20 plus 20, 40, 240. 240 plus 260 means 500. So what if margin left 500 px? There you are. Congratulations. You did mathematics as well as you completed the task, the challenging task. Very nice. Okay, so just remove what we did last time because it was just for our practice. Now we can see that currently the site is not at all appearing the way it is here. So how can we add these images? I am going to share a folder with it that contains the image of this mountain as well as the image of the cloud. What you have to do is that you are going to save the folder inside what we just made here. So you are going to save that folder images in CSS my site, and inside images there are going to be the image of the mountain. There is going to be image of mountain as well as cloud. So now how can we use this to transform our current site into what we want it to become? And so for this reason we are going to add images. Come on, let's get onto it. So the first image I want is over here, image. What's written here is images slash cloud.png. Be aware of the spelling because otherwise it won't load. Cloud image. So like this, like this, like this. This is going to be of mountain. Sorry for spellings. Okay. So let us see now, refresh. Oh, there's something wrong. Okay. Control X, Control V. Why don't we beautify it once? Very nice. Refresh. That's something. But there's something wrong about it, and this is when you are going to learn a new thing for CSS, and it is going to be display. So the display for CSS is in, you can say, different forms. One is in a form of block. What you will observe here through pesticide, just observe that this cloud has a small box, this image of mountain has a small box, and right with it is another image of the cloud. It is also having a small box, but this is very wide one, and it spreads all across, you can say all across the page. So this type of box is in a display of block. So what does the block do? That it doesn't allow any other element to come into its way. It just pushes all the elements away, and it's the only element, or it's the only block or image or display that is going to appear in a line. Similar is the case with this P1. But if you see this, it allows the other elements to come into a similar line. So this is another type of display, what is known as inline display. So inline display is, you can say, somewhat flexible, and block display is not flexible. How can we do this? We can have some sort of demonstration. For example, what if I press enter here, Control V, Control V. So what is going to happen now? Let us see. So it is not at the place that it used to be. So if I want to add something like underline with it, what would I have to do next? If I do something like P text decoration underline, for example, let us see what happens now. So this is not something that we want. I just want to underline, you can say, web. So what can I do in that sense? You might say that why don't I make it in a form of class? Okay, so we can do something like that. I can make this another P. Here developer is the class underline web, for example, and write it here dot underline web, and then text decoration underline. Okay, but this is not what we want. We want this all to be in one straight line. And for this reason, as I told you before, that you are going to, or we are going to use another type of display, that is going to be inline display. So what will be, for that reason, we want to anything like this. So we can do like span, Control X, Control V, and span can be named class underline web was the name, underline web. What if we refresh it now? Very nice. That is what we were looking that is what we were looking for. So span is a form of inline display, and we can just simply use it for our purposes. So you might ask that what if span and inline is such flexible display, why don't we use it often? Why do we need to use something like block display? Why can't we use inline only? So the reason is that there is cost for each and everything. You need to pay the cost. You need to have an opportunity cost. I'm sorry, I'm using some economic terms. Just skip it. So what we can do, with inline cannot be done with the block, and similar is the case on the other side. Block is an element of which we can change the width. For example, h1 is a block. So what if I change its width? For example, width of 5px. Refresh. See? So I can change its width. On the other hand, I can't change its width. For example, 100px. No effect. So that is something that we. So what's the cost with inline, with span that we use? What you can do, you can write each and every element in a similar line and can transform it into any form like we did to web. But if you talk about changing the width, we can't change the width of inline. But if you talk about block, we can change the width and height of block, but it won't allow any other element to come into its way. So how can we choose one? Think about it. Ta-da! No need to think about it because we don't need to make a choice. We can use it all together by using another type of display, that is inline block. We can use inline block to have something through which we can use it to change the width and height of, and even it is going to come into a straight line. Why don't we test it? What if we write this continuously? Control C, Control V, Control V. See? Now, if I go here and then write P display inline block, there you are. So that is what we can do. Now if I want to change its width by 50px, See, the also it doesn't look very nice, but we have changed its width. I can do it like for 500 too. There you are. See, so that provide us with the benefit. Just remove all this. How is it looking now? Very nice. So now we are going to use the display form. Okay, so I forget to tell you one more thing. There is another thing for display that is none. What if I don't want to show a thing? For example, okay. What if there is something like I don't want to display cloud image, or what can we say about it? For example, I write span and then I make a class. I class and I just Control X, Control V, save. Let us see. Okay. Very nice. If I go here and write dot I class and display none. Oh my God. Let us see what happens now. See, the I has disappeared. Magic. So this is how that we can use none even, but the thing is that it just disappears from the place. There's no space left over there for I. What if I do something like this? Visibility, hidden. So the space is there for I, but it is not visible to us. It is your own choice. Whatever you feel like, even if you are going for a quiz or anything like that, what you want. Either you want space there or you just want the thing to disappear. So it totally depends upon you. I just told you this as another skill so that we can learn even new things. And that is how we can learn many things, by doing some experimentations. And I encourage you all to experiment different things so that we can learn quickly. And we can learn in a very positive way. We just experiment and we'll enjoy. So it's back again. Why don't I remove this too? Very nice. And with adding pictures, we will now move forward to CSS positioning. That will affect the positioning of all these images and even more that we will discover in the future. But before we dive into it, I want to tell you this thing, that there are two main things that we need to consider every time. The first thing is that we have seen that the code, the order according to the code, is everything that determines on our site. Like if I move this mountain or this cloud image under full stack web developer, then what is going to happen there? Refresh. So you see, so the first thing is that the code determines the order. It was for the testing purpose. Refresh. Okay, the other thing is that content is everything. Now for this we are going to use pesticide. So we have seen that these boxes have the height similar to the height of the content, and you can see obviously these are in blocks, but the height is according to the content that we have written. If we increase the size of the content, the height of this block will also increase. So keep these two things in mind kindly. Now we are going to study about CSS positioning. And for CSS positioning, I would like to introduce you to a new thing that is known as Codepen.io. So it's totally free. Just go and browse it. Minimize. There we are, because at the moment we are only, you can say, working with HTML and CSS. Now the positioning is mainly of different types, but we are going to start with the two. One is static. Static positioning according to CSS is default positioning. If you do not define positioning in CSS, it will automatically have a default positioning of static. So it's natural, you can say. The other one is relative. And what do we mean by it? Relative. Let us test here. For example, Control C, Control V, Control V. So now we will define it here. Oh, I'm sorry. So there we are. We just copy paste three, two. So now we can change the color. So now here we are. At the moment, the position is static for three of them. What if I change the position relative? So we haven't seen any sort of change. But what is going to happen now? See, so what has happened here? So what I have written is that I have changed its default position from static to relative, and then I said to move this class 1 from left side 50 as it is relative. So what the position, the previous position was, the class 1 image or our project object has moved to the right side. How? Relative to the old position. If this was the old position and I have set left side 50px, so you can regard it as margin. I hope that you have already seen that box model that we studied. If not, kindly revise that, review that once so that you may understand this. This is same as the concept of margin. Like as we said about margin, it creates buffer and it pushes the position. So you can say whenever we have written the position relative, so it is relative to the static position that was according to the default position of CSS. So it has moved away from 50px, from which position? From the static position that was there before. So what if I say right? See, if I write top, so this is another thing. The relative position only changes relative to its only static position according to the margin that we studied in box model previously, and it doesn't affect any other object in its, you can say, in its way. So if I write bottom, so these are the coordinates: top, bottom, left, right. Now again if I write left, so there we are. Now there is going to be a challenge for you. First of all, I must just remove all this. There we are. So the challenge for you is that you need to place all these three objects in single row, and the first box should be of blue color, second of yellow, and third will be of red. So it will appear something like this. So it's a challenge for you. Pause the video and try to do this on your own. How are we going to do this? It's simple. Why don't we start with this one? So first is that we need to change its position from static to relative, and then because we want to move it from bottom to the top and it must be the first object, so 100 pixel of this side and 100 of this, so 200, as it will have a formula as of margin, so 200 px. Very nice. Similar will be done, something similar with this second position is relative, and then it has to move from the left side to the right side 100, and then we'll move up to the 100. So first, as we want buffer from left side, so obviously we will write left 100 px. Very nice. Now we want buffer from the bottom, so bottom 100 px. Very nice. So now it's the turn of our red color. First of all, position must be of relative, and next we want it to create buffer from left side 100 and 200. There we are. So we have completed our challenge. We have completed this task. Congratulations. And now we are going to move forward. Now as we are done with relative positioning, we are now starting with absolute positioning, another concept. So as we have seen that the relative positioning was with respect to its old static position that was by default in CSS, the absolute positioning will be relative to its parent, that is whole of this body. There might be some confusion what I am saying, but the moment we will start working over it, we'll understand. So why don't we erase what we wrote previously and start with something new. So here is our old version. So I hope that you have tried. Now why don't we give it a try together to see its new type of solution. The first thing is you can observe the margin in order to simplify our calculations. Why don't you tell me that how can we remove such margins? As we have covered before, we are going to use the same concept. Body margin. So here we are. So there won't be any margin. By this we can have simple calculations. Why don't we place position absolute with all? And we copy paste this with each our class. So now here we are. Yellow is absolutely at the right place. Now we need to move blue. It will move relative to its parent. So how can we do this? What if we say bottom 100px? Okay. What if we write top? Very nice. So it has been pushed from the top relative to. Now we are going to move it on the right side. So for that reason, very nice. Here is our red. Here it is. So obviously first hundred of yellow, second hundred of blue. So let us see now. Top. Very well done. 100 of yellow, 100 of blue. So there we are. So it was very simple task, and it is simply, and obviously you can do this with relative to, but I want you to test with absolute. So there is one more positioning left, that is of fixed. Now coming back to our side, sorry. So what are we going to do now? We need to center align all this, and for that reason one simple method is to go for text align, center, Control S. So we can see that the mountain and the cloud, these are the things that do not allow it into be at the center of the page. So what we need to do, that we need to take the cloud out of the flow so that it may be centralized. So as I told you before, what can we do in order to make something out of the flow of HTML? So the answer is obviously positioning, absolute positioning. So our solution is absolute positioning. But before that, I want to show you one more thing, that although that this is block element, what if I change its width? Because we can change the width. What happens if I do something like that? For example, h1 width 10%. So you see that now it has not been center lined. What can we do next is we can go for margin, and if we go for auto, let us see what happens then. It has been center aligned. So you will be using any of the two methods, and in order to elaborate what is happening, obviously margin from the top is 0, then margin at the right is auto, then the bottom is 0, and then that is thing. So see, it moves clockwise, top, right, bottom, left, but we can summarize it like this too. So we don't need to do all this because it was just to give you some understanding, and it was there as an example. So here we are. Now what we will do in order to make our images central aligned, we can make some classes here. So this is going to be a class of bottom cloud, Control S, dot bottom cloud position absolute. Let us see what happens now. Okay, very nice. Now what if we want, we have seen that we want something like this to be there. How can we do that? Why don't we change its spelling? If 500 peaks, what is going to happen at the moment? Oh, too much. 300, still too much. Getting better. That's better. Yes, that is. So we want our mountain to be there, and these are our clouds. What is happening here is we can change the padding like up to 150. Better. Now we want something like this. Here. So here we are. Make new classes. Top cloud. Okay, so now why don't we position it relative and top cloud position as relative. What is going to happen next? Nothing. Okay, so now I will push it from the top 50px. Okay, nice. Top cloud position relative bottom 50px. Nice. Getting better. H1 position is going to be relative to why don't I make the top containers position relative? No, I don't need that. So now again bottom 80px. Very nice. Here is our P section. So B is about to do something similar. Let us see now. Very nice. Now we want one cloud at the right side and another on the left side. But for this reason we need to do something else. It must move somewhat on the top. Nice. It must come at this position. So for code it is moving. Nice. It's looking better. We need to move the lower cloud too. This one is bottom. It is going to move with respect to its parent element, and its parent element is this top container div. And so what are we going to do now? It will move with respect to its. Why don't we write something like ATPX to check what is going to happen? Oh, no, we don't want it there. 150, 300. Now it's getting better. 400. There we are. So this is what we were aiming for. Obviously it is not similar to what we have seen here, but somewhat similar. We can increase its size too. For example, what if I change the width like 200px? What is going to happen? Okay, not very good thing. 500. See, 600. So it is getting better, somewhat similar to this. So here we are. Now we want this to be shifted a little more on the left side. This is top cloud, and obviously it is going to be pushed from the right side due to its positioning, relative positioning. There we are. Very nice. So that's all for today. Thank you very much for attending this lecture, and I hope that it will provide you with fruitful lessons. So obviously, in order to create ease for you, the time, you can say time lapse, will be mentioned in the below in the description, so that you may directly move on to whichever part you want. Although I would suggest you to follow the lecture as it is. So I hope that you have learned and you have applied. Let's catch up next week, and I would request you all to like, share, and subscribe only if you get value from it, and try to implement it, so that only then I would be able to accomplish my goal, that is to learn full stack web development free of cost, so that you may earn as a freelancer, business owners, or even during a private job. So let us now learn and implement all this, and we will meet up next week. Until then, best of luck. Bye.